Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Nerd Rant. I am Dr. Zomrant, also known as Seth.
And I am your resident expert on all things video games, Junior Wolf.
Debatable, but let's get into the news.
Ah yes, the news. What everybody's here to listen to, as if they can't get that everywhere else on the internet.
Nah, but we get to hear the random nonsense of us trying to figure out what the news is live. Am I wrong?
No, not really. Honestly, there's a lot going on, but not a lot to talk about.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyways, we do have something to talk about this week.
Yep.
It's actually quite a dispute right now across the gaming community. Not in terms of there are two sides, in terms of everybody wants to yell at this entity right now.
Yep. So this entity has a name, and I can almost guarantee that you've heard of this studio. Not studio. What would you call it?
This organization, this
Platform?
I guess, yeah, maybe platform. This
We don't know.
brand.
It is called Unity.
For context, Unity is what is called a game engine. It is something used to build games. To put it in a most simple analogy, kind of like how Roblox works, where you can build a game within Roblox and then people can play it. Unity is the tool that gives you the resources you need to build the game, and then you can publish it, and all they get is a small cut of their
Except that's more independent than through Unity. You don't have to download Unity to play a Unity game. Like, you make games just like Roblox, but instead of it being directly to Roblox, you could do it on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever.
Yep.
Just like Unreal Engine, which is what Fortnite's made out of.
Indeed. And those are the two big game engines that most people use, is either Unity or Unreal Engine.
Yes. However, one company everyone likes, the other one everyone wants to dump in a pit of fire right now.
Yep, and I don't think it's much of a secret, because if you're listening to this episode, you probably already know what's happening. Either that or based on the title that I'll most likely set it to. But, Unity kind of shot themselves in the foot here. For anyone who hasn't been keeping track, Unreal Engine has been in the lead in terms of being the game engine for a while now. One, for their innovative technology that they've been using in terms of, like, realistic graphics and lighting, but also in terms of, like, not just being a game engine. Like, I'm not sure if any of you have heard, but, like, the Mandalorian sets were mostly just scenes created within Unreal Engine, then projected onto a screen that they recorded.
It's crazy just how much Unreal Engine is. I mean, look at another thing that Fortnite's doing. Literally having ambient noise made with this.
Yeah.
Or what was it? Some of these emotes are made with Unreal Engine, like the audio. It's crazy what Unreal Engine's capable of.
Yeah.
And then Unity's over here shooting itself in the foot.
Yep, so I guess we should probably explain what they actually did here. Unity...
So, before we say what they did, where did you first hear this?
I honestly wouldn't
happening?
even be able to tell you. I think I saw it from a developer I follow on Twitter. Like, I can't remember exactly which one. It was one of two, but I think it was the one that developed the old Xbox game Dust, an Elysian Tale. I follow him on Twitter, and he is a solo developer. I believe his first game was published with Unity, but I'm not entirely positive. But I think I saw him, like, talking about the fact that this is going to kill small developers and, like, basically kill any chance they have of making money off their games.
So I heard this from a developer on YouTube, Twitter as well, called DannyDevYT. He's a small YouTuber that just kind of develops stuff. He's developed the game called Carlson, if you've heard of it. He just kind of does it for the fun of it. He's not trying to become a millionaire or anything. He has a pretty decent following. At least 100,000 subs. And his comment, his tweet, shit, I guess I owe Unity $5.6 million. Anyone got some spare change?
Yeah, so
he don't got 5.6 million.
To sum up
by
what
the
they were
way.
doing, and I guess, do you want to like actually see if you can pull up some like real numbers of what they were going to try and charge for things while I talk about it?
Sure. He has 4 million subscribers, by the way.
So Unity
yeah, just generally
basically
right here,
were they. I'm gonna preface this with it is free mostly to publish a game with Unity. Like, I think it might cost money to use the resources, but using those resources and building your game is completely like no strings attached. Then when you publish it and people purchase and play it, they get a small cut of the revenue that game makes. What Unity wanted to do is charge for every download a game gets. So
So this is the chart that he was using. If you want me to give the numbers, or do you want to explain what it is first?
Here, let me finish explaining this. So they wanted to charge for every download. So for example, if I have a game that I built with Unity, and it's like a short story game, like 2 hours long, and I charge $5 for it. Not only does Unity 1 get a small percentage of that $5, but then if a player plays that game multiple times on different occasions, re-downloading it, they would also get a cut of that while I'm making no money off that.
With the re-downloads count?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow, they're morons.
And that also goes for free games as well. So Unity is like one of the biggest mobile game engines as well. Like, if you see like any like popular mobile game, like open world ones especially, open it up and it'll bring up that splash screen made with Unity. That means those games, every download, the creator will be charged. Unity will find them a small amount.
Wow. Okay. That's so much worse.
Yeah.
But apparently, guess what? It gets better because you could actually get charged less. Can you guess how?
Really?
With subscriptions. So there's thresholds, right?
Mhm.
There is 1 to 100,000, 100,000 to 500, 500 to 1 million, and 1 million plus. The Unity Personal and Plus is 20 cents. So this is base, right? This is 100,000. It's 20 cents. With the Pro, it's 15 cents, and Unity Enterprise, it's 12.5 cents. But if we bring it down to over 1 million, it does actually get a little bit cheaper with 20 cents. But guess what? It's 20 cents with base, right? But if you have the Enterprise, which I don't know how much, it is now 1 cent. So you need the Enterprise. So if I'm just a small developer and my game blows off, I still owe 20 cents. But if I have the monthly subscription of Enterprise, it is now 1 cent per download.
Which still adds up when you think about it, especially if your game gets popular.
Let's see. He has 2 different games right here. One with 12 million and one with 16 million. Even with the 16, let's do some math. I'm pulling up the calculator right now. This 16,000, 160,000, 1.6 million. 16 million divided by 0.01. That is the wrong number. You talk while I figured out the number, because my math ain't mathing, because I'm too tired.
And for anyone questioning whether or not they're allowed to do this, yes, they completely are, because in their terms of service, it literally states that they may add or change fees at any time, and consent is not required for additional fees to take effect. Which, like, is a little bit crazy when you think about it, because, like, if you're going to start charging me more, I should be able to agree or deny that, but that's, like, one of the things we already live with in today's world. Like, subscription services change their fees and charges all the time, and it just keeps renewing. So,
oh, JJ, you're going to love
What?
this. You're going to love this. Unity Pro is approximately $185 a month for $2,000 a year. The Enterprise is $3,000 a year.
bruh.
So if your game blows up, sure, but if it's a free-to-play game, I don't know how much that makes, but I don't know if you can afford the $3,000 just for a fun hobby. $3,000 a year. It's either that for 1 cent or 20 cents, which adds up really fast.
Now, it's one thing if they said any further games created will have this charge, because then okay, people just ditch Unity. They'll just be like, all right, I'll just make my next game on something else. That would have been bad, but still fine. But no, they decided any existing games after this update that get downloaded, the creator will be fine. Luckily, it's not as far as every download in the past, because then people would have been in massive debt and there would have been a lot of court cases. But if, like, I have a game published for 3 years and now this pops up, any publicity that game gets over the next foreseeable future, I'm going to be charged for it.
So, JJ, they're actually changing the prices of these subscriptions.
Oh.
The $3,000 is going to be the new price. The old price is $2,400. So they're charging more money in order to get those discounts on those subscriptions, on those per install.
Bro.
$600 is a lot. And like, wow, that is just so stupid.
Yeah. It's not all right.
Oh, Unity.
I'm trying to look up. I've seen a couple things saying that they were backpedaling in the past few days. Like, they saw the outrage, and I believe
that's what Timothy said.
They were trying to say that they were going to charge, what is it? I think it's publishers, like Microsoft and Steam and stuff like that.
So our number one listener, Timothy, sent us a little meme. It's the clown meme getting more and more makeup. The first one is Unity changes price rates to per install. Backtracks just first install. So I guess, like you said, they changed it where it's not every single install, just the first one, like when you buy the game. And then it backtracks to will be paid by distributor instead of devs, i.e. Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo. The last one's just question marks, because what does that even mean?
Don't even know, bro.
So they don't owe money. Now PlayStation owes money if somebody's downloading a Unity game.
It don't make much sense.
Or Microsoft, or Nintendo. And Timothy was saying how apparently Pokemon is made with Unity. And we know Pokemon gets a lot of...
Yeah, that's not going to cut it with a Nintendo.
No, 'cause that's a lot of money. I also don't think they're getting the enterprise. They might. They have the money, but like still, that's.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit. There's a few reasons to this, and I feel like a big one that's very likely that we've seen with a few other companies, not necessarily game developer, like game engine, just general companies as of 2023. They're doing stuff like this because they're starting to go bankrupt. Like, they're starting to struggle. We saw this with Twitch. Twitch was failing hard. So they're starting to make, extra payments and this and that, or you're paid less.
Yeah. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I can tell you why. Because in today's market, especially for video games, when it comes to subscription services, they don't make any money. If you look at something like Game Pass, right? The games on there are all free if you pay for the subscription. And the way that they get a game on Game Pass is they make a deal with the game's developers, or the company behind them. For example, EA or, I don't know, Microsoft, whatever you want to put there. They make a deal with them.
Microsoft is making deals with themselves.
Usually a flat sum or like a monthly, like, we'll keep giving you this much to keep it on the service. That's not a purchase of the game. Therefore, the engine that they used wouldn't make any money off that. While there might be some like different loopholes in there that they do get some money, it's not nearly as much as a purchase of the game. And so people are saying Unity especially was doing this because look at all the free games on Game Pass that are made with Unity. I can say like at least 3 or 4 of the ones I've played are, and I know there's like maybe 50, 60 more on there made with Unity.
I mean, I'm just trying to find just some new games to chill on, and I saw 1 or 2 pretty big games with like, just big games for free. made with Unity.
Yeah, and
on PlayStation.
Unity sees this, and they want their money. So what they're trying to do is tax those free games, because a free download, they don't make any money. But if they charge per download, they do. I think they want their money from these subscription services. And that's why they also backpedaled to say that it will be the publishers that they are taxing. Because it's people like Xbox and Sony that they're after because of their subscription services.
Because so many people use it. I mean, look at, like, we were talking, I forget who I was talking with, but just like Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. Like, let me pull it up right now. Let me go see what the PlayStation Plus games are this month and just see the money that I get per month for practically free. Because as someone who's going to play online, it's a no-brainer to get PlayStation Plus, right? Because I kind of need that. Same with Xbox, right? If you want to play something like Call of Duty, like those online games, you need it.
Yeah.
So you talk, I want to try to quickly find it.
Okay.
I don't use the app.
But yeah, this is going to impact creators exponentially if they keep going down this route, because sure, it'll target the publisher like Xbox, especially because they're getting fined for their service, but also the creators aren't making as much money off of their game either. So every install will charge them money because they're not making money. They'll be practically at a net loss once they cross that threshold of money that Microsoft has given them to put their game on something like Game Pass. Yeah. So like say Microsoft gives me $10,000 for a month to put my game on Game Pass. Then there you go. As soon as enough people download my game, that 20 cents will build up. So like I'm terrible at math, but it's a multiplication problem there. If enough people download it, I'm now at a net loss because I'm not making any more money off of those free downloads. I'm losing money because I built my game with Unity and they charge per download.
So one of the games is $60. I'm trying to find the PS4 price. PS4 price is $30. So right there, $60 or so dollars plus $30, $90, and there's a whole other game with DLC that I get. So that's almost $100 a month that I'm getting for $60. Game Pass is slightly different. It's $120, right, instead of the $60, but you get all those games at any time. That adds up. And no wonder, because I very highly doubt that the people that are getting that, they're, especially nowadays, right? You might either get a DLC, right? Like I get the Black Desert DLC, like the premium edition, right? And you're getting that through that. So that way those people, you're losing out on that first purchase. But think about now that you have it for free, now I'm going to buy it on the DLC, and I'm going to buy it on the microtransactions. But if the game's free as a whole, and there's not really a point to microtransactions, those studios aren't making that much.
Yeah. And so Unity charging like this, I see it very much as they want their share of this subscription market. They see that they are very much losing out on their cut here, and they want to find a way to get in on it. I just think they did it very, very wrong.
If they really wanted money from the subscriptions, they could have either went to the developers, right, the people making the games, and be like, hey, I don't want Unity games on the Game Passes. So if they come at you, you have to decline. Okay, is that really that big of a deal? Like, you understand, like, they're losing money. Does that seem like a decent compromise? Just be like, I don't want our games. And so when they make a game, they just have to sign a contract. You can't have it on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus.
Or
is that big of a deal?
Or you could put in your terms of service that if a deal is made, they get a cut of that.
Or even just go to them directly, like PlayStation, Xbox. Hey, if you want Unity games on your subscriptions, we want a cut. Or something. Not charge every little tiny download. For some of these people, they literally are doing it on their crappy computer, like mine. Mine's a crappy computer. I can probably make some basic, side scroller, like one of those games that you see on the bottom of a Family Guy clip on YouTube Shorts, right? I could probably make one of those and get 15,000, 20,000 downloads. Maybe make a few maybe make $1,000, $2,000. But I just do it on my crappy computer while I have an actual job. If I say get 15,000 downloads, that's not that much, right? That's not a crazy amount. But now I'm charged 20 cents.
Yeah,
I now owe $3,000.
it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, I think it's funny that they did this because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But if a game is included in a charity bundle, then it's exempt from this download tax. You know how many things do charity bundles?
I didn't know charity bundles were a thing. What's a charity bundle?
Oh gosh, what's that one website? Humble Bundle. Have you heard of Humble Bundle?
Frankly, yeah.
Yes, it is. It's a smaller website that gives you Steam codes for games in bundles. I think there's like 1 or 2 bundles a month, but you pay like anywhere from $10 to $30, and you get like a butt ton of games on Steam or whatever digital store they have, GOG, stuff like that. And then they donate a small I think it's actually a large portion of what you paid to a charity of your choice. That's on their website. But
yeah,
those bundles would be exempt from this download charge.
I find that is the funniest thing, that studios and villains from shows, they could be a piece of work, they could be a piece of crap, but they won't do this or that.
Mm-hmm.
They have their little line on their line of malice and evil intent, but they won't do this.
Yeah.
We'll steal from the small creators that are doing this as a hobby and trying to make a little bit of money for college, but we're gonna charge them, or not charity. We don't do that. We love charity. We donate to charity. We planted a tree.
Now, if this goes the wrong way, then January 1st is when this starts. If this stays in act and none of the lawsuits pan out in time, January 1st is when this will all take effect. Now, I already know one person has already said they are working on a lawsuit right now, and that's the developer for Cult of the Lamb. It's a smaller indie game that blew up recently, but they developed their game with Unity and have like DLCs and stuff. All of that would qualify for this charge. And they already are so upset that they said they have lawsuits coming their way.
I mean, that's fair. Like, that's not something, like, imagine developing a whole game, right? Like, spending so much time with a team, and now you have this fee that adds up so much. Now you're punished if you're successful, because then you owe hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to be good developers, which are rare and far between, but like these developers, though they might have a lot of microtransactions, it's not impossible to play these types of games. You can get a full game for like $15. They're not common, but now those types of people are screwed because they are not making enough money to then pay to have people download their game.
You know, so...
But then we have another game engine.
We do.
Which isn't a piece of crap.
The one that we well know and well like at this point in time, Unreal Engine.
Especially as a company.
Yup. For anyone who doesn't know what we're alluding to, what the heck are you doing? You're living under a rock. They're run by Epic Games.
That's fair. Yep. Who, I don't know. Pretty decent company. Gives a lot of royalties to the creators. Gives out free games as well. Runs Fortnite, which is free. And you can do a lot of stuff for free. It does not charge anybody or creators to make games on Fortnite to make money.
Yep.
Imagine if Unity had like the Creative 2.0. You would have to have like the pro subscription. $1,500 a year just to get games on Creative 2.0.
That'd be kind of crappy.
That'd be what Unity would do.
Yeah. But yeah, Unreal Engine has been a lot better, and I think I think mainly they have that benefit mostly because they are still profitable. They have expanded not only their technology, but their scope of what it can be used for to more than just gaming.
Yeah.
So they are still making money, and they don't need to worry about the fact that, we're going bankrupt. We need to do something about it.
Kind of like I was watching this Bedrock like Minecraft server video, and they were saying this one server isn't exactly doing great. They're not doing bad, but they're not doing great. But the reason they can do it is because they are one of the largest, the Bedrock store. They're one of the largest developers in there, giving skin packs, maps, and stuff like that. So they're getting money from that to do that. So even if Epic Games Unreal was doing bad, Fortnite's doing fine, Rocket League, all these other different things that you're getting are making up for that money. Whereas Unreal, I don't think is getting, not Unreal, Unity, I don't think is really getting, has that many lines of profit.
Yeah, they haven't broadened their scope as much. Like, I'm going to the Unity website. If you look at under tools, all they have is Unreal Engine and a few different, like, assets, speeds, some sketching tools, like, stuff like that. Like, it's not like they have much else apart from that. Whereas Unreal has several different products.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Unreal has also started testing with AI a lot recently. And I feel like as much as people dunk on it, it is something that companies are going to have to start doing, obviously in a safe and legal way. I feel like that's kind of obvious.
If you want to learn about some ethics of artificial intelligence and what that's going to do, we have an episode on that.
We do indeed. You should definitely go listen. But they're experimenting with that, and a lot of their tools are incorporating it now for things like generations, scanning items, like things like that. Like these,
like I said earlier, the audio, like there's ambient audio, it is AI generated.
These tools are things that they're going to need to take advantage of if they want to stay on the top and stay making money, which is what Unreal did. And I haven't seen Unity try and make those steps yet.
And at this point, we don't know if we will see it, because if they might sink themselves too low, depending on how they decide to go, how they decide to continue after such all this backlash.
Because like, even if they're like, guys, we're sorry, we shouldn't have done this in the first place, they have still damaged their reputation, and people know their shots they're willing to take.
Downloading, why would I want to risk making a game with Unity and then having the chance of, in a year or two, even the old downloads you have to pay for? It's like, I forgot about that game I made 3 years ago, and now I owe 7 cents per download. I'm broke. Like, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I don't have that. Now I'm in debt.
Yeah, it's
like, I can't.
It's simply not.
Why would I risk that?
It doesn't make any sense at all. And the sad truth is, if this continues and the lawsuits don't pan out, then developers are just going to have to take their games down. Like, they have no other choice but to unpublish their games, which is very hard to do and costs them quite a bit of money, but they're just going to have to get rid of them.
But again, with that, not just removing the game, that's going to hurt two more types of people. One, the fan base, right? They just, sorry, like, we completely understand. We're not spending money because there is nothing to buy, right? But now they can't afford it, so they have to take it down. And two, the developing team. Imagine how much time they're spending on these games. Some games are made, it seems like, within an afternoon, right? But some games very much are full 50-hour story games made with Unity, with side quests, with all this stuff, right? And if they can't afford it, then they just take it down, and all that time was literally for nothing. And they're going to have to start from scratch on a different engine if they really want to get that out there.
Yeah,
which sucks.
It really does suck.
But again, company, they're helping themselves and not the consumer, not the people.
And don't get me wrong, like, I definitely understand that they are losing money and they need to find a solution. Like, don't forget, competition is good. It is good that Unreal Engine has competition. Like, I'm not saying that Unity needs to die and Unreal is the best thing of all. I'm saying that Unity needs to get their crap together if they want to be a respectable company. Otherwise, somebody else with better moral standards is going to take the high road here.
Do you want to hear what the developer of Terraria said to all this?
Yeah.
My game is $10. I want everyone to play it because I'm proud of my work. Some guy, I'm guessing he's somewhat higher up at Unity, wants to charge you for every possible emotion you feel while gaming. Ask him how many games he's made. I do this because it's my calling. He is a suit who wants to make as much money from you as he can. The guy is the definition of everything that is wrong with the video game industry. Reject him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think Terraria is actually a great example. Because at least Minecraft has, the Bedrock store and stuff like that. Like, they have something that they can keep making money. Terraria is a great example. If something like this were to happen now, what were they to do? When they're making $10 from download, and that is it. We are getting hundreds of hours of content, new updates, mods, like support and everything that they are natively working on and actively working on, and new textures, have a full development team, families that they have to pay for.
Yeah.
But they're just a small indie team. If they made something like that, if this type of game affected them, that would hurt a lot.
Yeah. No, I definitely think
still growing.
There's no way this can uphold itself because, like, worst case scenario, people are going to boycott Unity, or not Unity.
Stop making games on Unity.
Yeah, like it's like they're going to, even the fans, like people aren't going to download the games, and sure that may hurt the developers to some extent. But it will also help them because they may be like, oh crap, we messed up, and backpedal at least slightly.
Which they already kind of are, but we don't know what level they're actually going to end on because this is all within like 3 days.
I'm trying to find like actual statements about like charging the publishers and stuff, but I haven't been able to find anything. So I'm not entirely sure. One thing I also do want to bring up, if they do go bankrupt, what happens in terms of the monopoly situation? Because I don't think any of us could name one other big like game engine apart from like the private ones that like certain studios use. Like I think EA has their own engine to some extent that they use for certain things.
But even for big studios, not something that anyone can use.
Yeah. And so would that make it a monopoly then for Unreal?
Epic Games.
And if so, wouldn't they then have to do something to stop that because that's illegal?
See, I feel like that's harder because when we look at something like streaming, right? Like, say that all the studios just died. Overnight, Netflix died, Disney Plus died, and everything that's left was Hulu. Or everything that was left was Netflix, right? Like, whatever it is. That'd be a little different because they would have and overnight they also gained all the rights to the shows. And they put every type of show, channel from cable, like all these new, everything on there. They're making money and they're going to make money from that, right? Like, just people using it. With Unreal, you don't need, like, there's partially a free aspect. So when you have that free aspect, is that still, like, illegal to have that monopoly?
I don't know.
Right, like, what would be wrong with only having Unreal? Now, the problem of if they wanted to change a order and there's no other place to switch to, there'd be some problem. But if they didn't, if they just kept their same rules that they have right now, who would complain about that being the primary game engine? But here's a question. Here's another thing that I learned from like looking at the prime sports drink food theory, or we were looking at the gaming genres. These terms are so broad. So a gaming engine, would EA's be a part of that? Like, is it specifically the public free-to-use gaming engines that are a part of this? or is gaming engine as a whole, including that EA? Because if so, then Unreal Engine 8 going to become a monopoly when we have game engines that make things like Minecraft and all that type of stuff, right? That's like, that's not... Unreal will never beat all of these as a whole in a primary.
Okay, real quick, I just want to, I just pulled up some of the games that are made with Unity. These are massive.
Yeah, no,
Pokemon
I know they're massive.
Go, Monument Valley, Call of Duty Mobile, Beat Saber, Cuphead, Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Holy crap, things are gonna burn alive if this goes through.
Yeah. Like I said, big games.
Yes.
Now, yes, there are the small games, and I feel like that's why some people like you just realize that those games weren't made with Unity, because Unity is known as the mobile developer, right? Like, when you're thinking Unreal, you're thinking this crazy big $70 AAA ray tracing, because the new graphics console game.
There.
You're not, but when you think Unity, you're thinking of the small ones, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't been for big games. Like Genshin. Genshin would hurt.
Yeah.
Imagine if this went to effect, but shortly after, imagine, Genshin's still not on Xbox, right? Imagine it came to Xbox. Imagine they're currently working on trying to get it to Xbox, right?
Yeah.
But this happened. That's not happening anymore. Why would they submit themselves to that and losing thousands of more dollars to putting it on another platform to then have millions more downloads, having millions more dollars to give?
Yeah.
That would cut off all chances of cross-platform.
It really would.
That just opens the developer up to paying more.
Now,
which is just...
I have a list right here of all the different game engines, and there's a lot of them, and a lot of small ones that, don't mean anything. They were used for, one or two games. But one thing I do want to note is that we said before, Pokemon was made with Unity, right? That's only, one or two Pokemon games. Looking through this list, I see a lot of Nintendo games strewn across a lot of different engines. And that's... I don't know if that's smart or stupid. Because, the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Sure, that can be smart. But it can also be stupid. Because, having all of your resources strung out, in all these little baskets, if all these little baskets aren't strong enough to hold up in the industry, you'll lose all of them. Whereas, someone like Epic Games has literally everything they've done in Unreal Engine. And that strengthens Unreal
I'm
Engine.
Not quite sure on the specifics, but Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure almost every year is made on a new engine. I don't quite know what that means, if it's made on a new version of Unity, like Unity 2.0, Call of Duty 3.0, or if it is completely going from the ground up.
Yeah, I don't
just like the Pokemon.
Call of Duty listed here, but I could just be missing it.
I don't know what there's. It's not Call of Duty, but I know when especially the new era, almost every year, it's made on a new engine. That's what they say. I don't quite know the specifics if that's a new type
IW engine is
Unity?
the one used for the Call of Duty series. It looks like it's just a new version of that engine for each of them. But it is the same engine.
Yeah, I see it here.
But yeah, it looks like a lot of big franchises that people know are just their own engine built from the ground up. Because looking here, the Doom series has its own engine. The Quake series has its own engine. What else here? Baldur's Gate has its own engine. Call of Duty, obviously. Star Wars has its own engine. Final Fantasy. There's a lot of them here.
But then again, like we said earlier, this begs the question, what is the monopoly of? Is it public free to use, or is it gaming engines as a whole? Because if it's free to use, then yes. If Unity dies, Epic Games is becoming a monopoly. But if it's gaming engines as a whole, we are seeing here that because of the way games develop nowadays, they're doing stuff in the house, and not using other people's software, that's not happening. Like, there will be no, as long as some of these series are still being made, or just these studios as a whole are still making something, there's going to be no monopoly of gaming engines.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see that all of these franchises are, once again, spreading out their resources.
Now, here's what I wonder. What are the pros? We're not going to be able to answer this because this is a whole other question. But I wonder, what are the pros and cons of using your own engine versus something like Unreal or Unity?
Pros are you're going to know it better, definitely.
Yeah.
And it'll be capable of what you need it to be capable of, I guess, because you can just code it to be that way. But I imagine it'll take a lot longer to produce because you don't have those easy access tools.
You're starting from the scratch. So is the pro of you knowing it better than having these already made tools at your disposal? Something like Unreal, being able to get the ray tracing and stuff. Imagine having to develop your own ray tracing. That's what some of these studios would have to do, versus just here it is, Unreal Engine, there you go.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're trying to answer right now. That is a whole other question. That's just what I'm like looking and thinking about this. I wonder what the point of having something like Epic Games and Unity are for the public, right? But if you're making a big game, you're trying to make a proper, full-fledged game, would it be better just to take some kind of open log programming source, like just start from scratch and start typing /home with Python? Or is it better to start with Epic Games, Unity or Unreal?
There's definitely a lot of like interesting aspects to this that I don't think a lot of people are gonna really dig into them, because this isn't that kind of problem. This is really a surface level, moral especially kind of problem.
And it's a pretty one-sided Unity or stupid.
Yeah, like I've not seen one person in support of this apart from the guy who made the choice.
I think there's some bias there,
A little bit, just
not
a tad.
too sure. Oh, suits.
I'm trying to like see if
Why
I
do
can
people
pull
in suits got to be so
just the
stupid
Wikipedia
and
page
out
for
of the
these two
loop?
game engines. So I want to see what they have listed. Yeah, see, the Wikipedia page for Unreal Engine has usage for video games, film and television, and other uses, whereas Unity's doesn't even really have a usage. It's just video games and everything else.
Yeah.
And it appears as if Unity hasn't really updated per se since like 2017. Because looking here, obviously we just got Unreal Engine 5, right? Like it's been updating over the years and things have been increasing and getting better, revamped, stuff like that. And on the Wikipedia, I can see the versions. There's Unreal 2, 3, Development Kit 4, 5. Then under Unity's, it's 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 was 2015. And then it just switches to Unity, 2017 to present. Which means they haven't had a big overhaul version since 2017.
So here's another thing that really struggles when we have these two. I'm looking, and apparently both Unity and Unreal Engine both use C++. Now, say that you're efficient with a type of programming, then you want to go to that one, right? If this engine uses this programming language, and if you know that well, like if some person out there apparently doesn't know Java or C++, but knows this Unreal program for Creative 2.0, then why would they ever use Unity when they have the Creative 2.0? But when you have multiple game engines that are this size and this available and this and one is more updated, one is more, consumer friendly, why would you ever choose Unity in the first place?
Yeah.
If I'm better with C++, why would I ever choose Unity over Unreal Engine? I thought there'd at least be a difference there, but no, that's even the same.
Mm-hmm. It seems like Unity in 2021, the biggest thing they did was they finally acquired a visual scripting system. So, like, I think that's something that Unreal's had for much longer.
Well, Unreal's also been around from 1998, 7 years before Unity.
That is true.
So, like, they just have been in the market for longer.
Yeah, it's just like there's not... It doesn't seem like Unity... Either they don't have the resources to improve to the point that they need to be in the market, or they're just not caring enough. Like, if you see an employee of Unreal at like an event talking about Unreal and the engine and the features, you can tell they're excited and passionate about what they're doing, and they're not doing it specifically for the money, they're doing it for the innovation in the industry. I don't know about you, but I've never seen anybody talk about Unity, especially in that way.
I mean, not just in that way, but let's think about this. Unreal Engine 5 was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they have like a whole state of Unreal, big live stream talking about? Huh?
Yeah, State of Unreal.
State of Unreal. Does Unity have that? Not just an excitement, but do they have something to even put their word out there to get the hype started?
Other than like a patch notes, I don't think so, because they don't do enough to merit anything more.
Yeah. So even if they did have developers excited, which is doubtful, because if they're treating their consumers this way, think about how the employees are also treated. Probably not fantastic.
Yeah.
Where, you have Epic Games giving 2-week breaks at Christmas and summer, which is pretty cool. So even if they had employees that enjoyed it, they can't get their word out compared to State of Unreal.
Mm-hmm. It's just, as a company, it doesn't seem like they're... Like, I know money is a big factor, but it doesn't seem like they're passionate and trying hard enough to maintain what you need in this industry.
Honestly, Twitch. I'm seeing so many similarities with Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just not caring. They're not giving the types of updates that they need. They're just getting money. This is the exact same thing. Like, the owner is just completely out of the loop when it comes to their entire reality. Like, their entire thing for Twitch is live streaming, and they just don't understand live streaming. Their entire thing is game developing, and they can't even do that.
Yeah, it seems like a
but
just
then they're
a big
in the suits,
problem
and
with
they're just there for money.
Management. Like, they don't... Here's one thing that I really liked about Donald Mustard, right? He was in the community. He was not just above it. He was not the person, like, developing and giving. He was the person developing and using. He enjoyed being a part of the community, sharing things with us, seeing how we react, and responding to it. That's the kind of management that a lot of these companies need, because...
Even Tim Sweeney, so like Donald's great, right? Mm-hmm. But Tim Sweeney is even above him. He is the CEO of Epic Games as a whole, not just creative director, CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And he still was giving us the new season word every season or something like that. He was still interacting and getting the community hyped for one of his games, and he was very much focusing on the Apple versus like all these other things. He was giving some information out to the community, which we just don't see at other studios.
It's like,
and companies.
Tell me the last time the CEO of Disney, I don't even know his name at this point, watched like a Marvel movie and like talked about it. Like, for all we know, he hasn't seen any of the Marvel movies. for all we know, he's just making them and looking at the numbers that come in.
Why would the Disney CEO even worry about making them? He doesn't. He's just there to spread the money out to maximize profits.
It's crucial for you to pay attention to what you're doing and review it firsthand. It's not enough to look at the numbers and say, oh, this isn't working enough, let's change how something's going. Look at it yourself and look and
see
talk
why.
to the people that you are giving it to. What do you think beta tests are for? Beta tests, the whole point is to give people a test, watch how they react, and change based on that.
See, but even that is getting twisted by these big corporations like Activision. Beta tests for Call of Duty aren't beta tests anymore. One, there are some changes, right? Maybe some UI changes. There are changes, but we look at a lot of the core gameplay. The bugs that are in the beta are there in the full release. There's no way they can take the amount of input that we give them that is crucial, that 98% of the community agrees on, that this needs to be changed in some way or this specific way. There's no way they're doing that in less than a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, here's another big game coming up, X-Defiant. We talked this a little bit.
Yeah.
They had their beta test at the beginning of summer in like May and June. And the game's still not out yet. They're actually using it as a beta test and not a publicity stunt to get you hyped up.
Yeah.
For a letdown.
And another one that I've seen doing it, and even on a like smaller scale, there's an Assassin's Creed game coming out on mobile, right? And they're doing a beta test, but it's a closed beta. So this is one where you have to... They're basically giving it out to only people that are committed to giving feedback. And these people were allowed to record small portions of the game and show it to their communities, but they're the only ones allowed to give feedback. And this beta test happened what could be 2 years before the game's release. Like, the game is nowhere near done, but they are keeping people included by showing them, here's where we're at. What do you think so far so that we have time to change it if you don't like it?
Just like X-Defiant going through the process of, we are working on publishing, here's the changes and stuff.
They care about our thoughts, and they want to make sure that the community and the developers are on the same page with everything. Like, I would say up to the point where if we didn't like the direction of that game was going at all, they would probably scrap at least 90% of it and start over.
But then you have people like Unity and Twitch that are just like, we're going to double down on our policies because we know better.
It's like you have all of your users telling you that this is not going to be healthy. You have people rallying in the streets saying they're going to boycott you if you don't change it back or make it better. And yet you're still sticking to it because that's what the numbers are telling you to do. But anyways, people are stupid.
Not wrong.
These people honestly just need to wise up a little bit. Go on Twitter or Reddit for a little bit. Let people dunk on you.
What's Twitter?
Go on Twitter.
What's Twitter? Don't you mean X?
I'm not. I don't want to call it X. I don't.
So I'm gonna do a quick one sentence, too long didn't read. Unity poo-poo, Epic Games peak.
Cool. Yep. Epic Games.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
Epic Games has taken the cake. Unity has become less united.
Work that into the description.
Unity is no longer united.
Yep. I do want to quickly say something though at the end of this, as a is there any other comments you want to try to do about this? Because I had to comment about last episode.
Nope. I think we're good.
All right. So last episode we talked about the metaverse through Fortnite and all this crazy stuff. But the main idea of the episode was Donald Mustard's leaving. We actually now, after that, we have had a replacement. I just want to quickly say his name and some things that he's known for, just as a follow-up to the last episode. It's Charlie Wen. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He's going to be the new Chief Creative Officer at Epic Games. And he's had some pretty big roles. Spearheading Riot Games Film Department, co-founding Marvel Studios Visual Development Department, and such as has creating Kratos. So he's worked on Ant-Man, Avengers Age of Ultron, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Thor the Dark World, Iron Man 3, Avengers, Captain America vs. Avenger, Thor, and God of War. He's worked on God of War 2, worked on a lot of stuff of League of Legends, and spearheading that with Arcade afterwards, and some more stuff. So he's done some stuff as a business person and that are pretty creative.
Definitely. I think he's definitely going to do good in this role, at least on paper. We'll have to see what he implements and how it goes.
He hasn't done anything yet.
But
not like,
yeah. On paper, he looks like he's got a good resume. So we are anxious to see where he goes.
Promise. And I think we're going to see that with Chapter 5.
Yeah.
I think Chapter 4 is probably going to continue the way it's going. But I think with Chapter 5, that's going to be a new start to some kind of story that he will be making.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to go too much into that, but I feel like that's kind of like the main point of last episode. And that's kind of a big development. So I figured we should at least say that for a minute or two and just explain that.
But anyways, I think that'll wrap up today's episode. This was an interesting one, definitely.
Yep. And I think there's possibly some bigger news to come out of this. Because I think just like the Fortnite metaverse, there could be possibilities of ripples throughout other game engines and other, terms of service. Like we look at Minecraft constantly changing its term of service through Microsoft. This could change a lot of other things, possibly.
It could.
With payment to developers, to programmers, to
because this is how court cases usually go. If somebody ends up winning a court case, then it could be now mandatory that a certain part in terms of service is required if you are a game engine with a subscription or something like that.
So I think there's much more to the story other than just Unity that could possibly come for that. That is just a theory. But with stuff like that, would you agree there's normally some other backlash and ripple effects that come from something like this?
Definitely.
So we'll see. If something crazy happens, we'll do a tweet, Instagram reel, maybe a new episode if it warrants. I don't think we're going to do a whole new episode if there's one line of terms of service changing.
Yeah, probably not.
But if there's some big changes, we'll try to keep you updated, whether that be in an episode post or this minute or two recap.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll keep you updated. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for notifications on Nerd Rant Podcast.
YouTube, you dunce. Make sure you hit the follow button on Spotify and turn on notifications. If you're on iHeart or Amazon or any of those, do the equivalent. I think it's like the podcast
it's all the same
or
thing.
Follow or
It's all the
something
same
like that.
Follow, subscribe. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, totally. And with that, we bid you adieu for today.
Is it April 1st already?
No, shush. Anyways, bye!